Well, folks, this is Slim. We're back here today. We're going to do a little bit of welding again. We got to make a Christmas tree type stand to do all the Christmas products that we want to make for the snowflakes, trees, whatever we want to make and paint. We need a place for them to dry for priming and painting. So we're going to work on a stand today and start prepping for that. Here, I'll show you some material I'm getting going. So over here we got a big wheel. This wheel actually was a piece of scrap I got from Scuba Daddy at work. He gave me this wheel off a boat lift, and I thought, well, I could use it for a whole bunch of things to hang on there. But how am I going to attach it? What am I going to do? Well, then I got a piece of pipe here. So we're going to take this piece of pipe for a base. I actually found this cutting grass, mowing in the ditch. It was sticking up and I dug it out of the ground. So I got a free piece of metal there. Nice piece. Just got to do some cleanup on it. And I got this weight for the bottom, which I'm going to attach this piece of metal to right up here and weld it. I got this from Big D. He gave me this as a Sears weight off of an exercise machine. So that way when I put it on, it's not going to be tipsy. Kind of counterbalance it. And then over here, I built a cart years ago for a barrel, which I no longer have the barrel for, but I kept the cart. So I'm thinking this will be a good base so we can move it around the shop for our drying rack, which will make it really nice and easy. Like I said before, having things on wheels to move it around, that'll do real good. So I think first thing now is we got to figure out how we're going to attach the base and get some pieces cut. Back at you soon. So next thing here is we're going to go over to the chop saw. This piece of metal that I got, the end is not so flat. So we got to clean that up. So we're going to just get it clamped in there and we'll get the saw here cutting away here in just a second, folks. Alright, we got our saw plugged in there on our new chop saw table. Excited to use that. But we're going to flip the camera on for a second. Notice before I start, safety first, got my face shield on so any sparks or debris. We got to worry about the safety, folks. So I got my helmet on and now we're going to get to some cutting action here. Oh, as you can see, folks, we tripped a breaker. We do that once in a while in the garage. Better go over to the panel there. We flipped one this morning. Usually I don't on that circuit, but we flipped one. Alright, saw should be back and ready. Then we'll get back to cutting here. There you go, we got the excess off of there. Be careful, don't touch that with your bare fingers because that metal will be hot. But at least now, as you can see, we got a few burrs to clean up, but it'll be a nice smoother edge for welding onto our base for that. Now what I've done here is I've attached the tube, and now I like to use these magnets. Those magnets help keep that in place, and we're going to run some beads of weld along here to get it all welded up on there. Yep. Now I don't have the biggest, most powerful welder in the world, but this is a nice size, folks. It's a Miller 211 Miller-Matic. You can run it off the 220 or 110, and it's got the nice little settings here for what I'm welding. So the last time I was welding was something closer to the 14 gauge, and we're going to go up to 3/16. So it's nice because you can turn the dial indicator and then ballpark it when you're welding for the thickness of metal that you want. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing turned on. There's a switch in the back. And then we're going to turn the gas on the welder. And we're going to get to some welding action here in just a minute, folks. Now we got our speed glass helmet, self-auto darkening. Yep. And I got the leather vest on today because I was thinking about all the sparks that were flying before. It's good for me to put my safety gear on. And got these gloves here I'm going to put on so don't burn my fingers, folks. So I'm going to get tack welding a couple things here, and I'm just going to tack weld them into place and make sure that instead of welding it solid beforehand, because I've done that a lot and then had to cut it apart, that we tack weld it, and this works out the way we want it to work. Sometimes we got to revamp it. Alright, so as you can see, I got the camera pointed down where we're going to weld, and I'm flipping my shield and my gloves off. Let's see if we got spark. Yep, we are all ready to fly, folks. I'm going to do a couple welds in here, and I'm going to turn this just a little bit so you can see what's going on here. Well, we got that side tacked in there. We're going to flip this around a little bit. We'll tack it in about 4 spots. Alright, that seemed pretty good. We should be able to pull our magnet so this doesn't fly. Well, just pulled the magnets off and tipped the camera over at the same time. There we go. Don't get all excited this morning. It's Monday. I know it's been a busy weekend. Alright. There we go. Number 3. We'll do a little cleanup. Now, I probably should have sanded that a little bit before. Normally, I would do that, and I should have sanded both of those to make sure the metal's better. We'll do that next time, but we'll rock this a little bit. Yep, our pipe is nice and solid, folks, so now we'll be on to the next step. How are we going to attach this wheel to our base? Okay, so as you can see, we got the cart here, and if I took this, oh, that's kind of heavy, still got a little smoke going. It doesn't quite fit in those rails. So we need something to hold this in. So I'm thinking a couple pieces of angle iron underneath to go from point A to point B, and that'll give us a good placement to put things in. Maybe if we do it right, we could run some bolts through that angle iron and bolt this to there instead of welding it to the frame. We'll be back next. Do a little bit more cutting on the saw. So we're back here. We got a couple pieces of angle, just a little rough estimate here. We'll put those 2 underneath so the base doesn't fall through. Got a nice little marking pen here so we can mark off a little spot to cut. I think you got to push her down, get some. It's a new one, so I'm hoping that it works. Yep, just had to dab of the ink a little bit there. But nice and bright little visible mark there for us to go cut on the chop saw. Then we'll mark this guy off here. And we'll weld that right to the bottom there. Yeah, got my face shield going down. Gonna start this out here. So we got our 2 pieces of metal there. And we're going to do a little bit of cleanup with the grinder, so we got some good penetration there for the weld. So we'll clean that surface up a little bit and clean up the burrs on here a little bit. Yep. Alright, so we got our shield back on. We're going to try and tip this angle lens right about there for now. I forgot the tripod that Big D gave me. The wife's got it in her car, but as you can see here, we're going to get doing a little bit of grinder in here. Clean up there. Let's use a slap jet to clean it right down to the metal there. Okay, we got those 4 slots for when we're going to attach the metal to it. So we should. We're going to set these in place right about. Oh, we're going to guesstimate. The wheels will turn fine. Yep, wheels will spin fine there, and that should make it so our plate doesn't move. Yep. So we'll go in there a little bit. Take out a little tape measure to see roughly where we're at here. We're going to go in about 5 inches there. And 5 inches there. Yep, about 5 there. Yep, about 5 inches in there. That'll give us a good span. Whoa, Almost dropped you. That'll give us a good span through our work area there. So we're going to get the wire feed welder fired back up. Now we're doing pretty good here. Let's see if we can see it, folks. Where are we at? Flip the camera around. I'm kind of new at this stuff, so bear with me. Alright, so we're back in action here. And let's see if I can get you in the picture to do a little bit of welding there. Yep. Here. Got our ground cable attached to the workbench we got. And we're going to fire up a little bit of welding. Yep, so we're going to get all 4 pieces welded up, and then we'll be back at you with the next step. Killer! So folks, as you can see, we got all 2 pieces of metal, all the 4 welds welded on each side, and actually we did a few more. We got 2 more here, welded up the ends a little bit. We'll clean those up later, but that should give us, we flip it over, that should give us a nice little chunk for our piece of metal to sit in. Let's see if this works out. Oh, that's heavy. They don't call muscle weights for nothing, do they? Well, there you go. Now our base isn't going to fall in, and we need to figure out how do we want to attach it to here. Now I might want to make it removable, because if this plan doesn't work the way I want it, or I want to use this for something later, we might want to think about making something to attach to here. So that'll be our next process, folks. Now I went over to the nut and bolt bin, and I got some bolts, some washers. And what I'm thinking is welding that nut on the bottom right in there on that piece of metal, and then with that washer it should grab that ear there, and then this one we got nothing. So folks, we're gonna have to get another piece of metal in there. But let's get these 2 lined up, and then we'll flip it and put in a piece of metal, and that should give us 3 points of attachment. So if we ever want to take this off of there, we can unbolt that pedestal, no problem. So folks, we just need to cut a piece of metal, mark 2 markings here with my marking pen, and we're going to put a piece of flat right in there, and then we'll be able to put another bolt and weld it onto there. Now we got our piece of flat metal in there, so we're going to take the base. Oh, another heavy time. Don't want to move that all the time. About as much lifting weights as I want to do. Okay, so now we got a pretty good sized surface there. Let's see where these washers would line up on this side, and we'll get them kind of centered there, because we got a lot more to work with on the other side. Slide them back. Hold on. Now what I'm thinking, folks, is I got to weld this one in. Those 2 are welded, but I'm thinking, so I get it lined up every time where I want it, I think I'm just going to weld this top of the washer right here, and then right up in there, and right up in there, and that's going to give us a good solid point, and then we can slide it into place every time right there, and then just bolt it up. So now that we have those welded in place, we got the washers welded there, so we can put the lock washers. Boom, boom. Uh-oh. What are we doing? We grabbed the wrong size, folks. We got to go grab a different size. Well, there we go. We got some lock washers there, and there. And now we got the correct size here. And should be able to get those on there, and it'll be mounted and be able to remove it from our base. Yep, we added a flat washer in there to fill up the gap, and now if we put our locks on there, that should work a lot better and give us a solid place for our lock washers to go on there into place. Well, let's see here. Crank it on there for the last one. Then we'll just snug them down. I got a ratchet here. We can snug those guys down. Now, as you can see, we got them all snugged down. Oh my God, that thing's heavy. Well, we got our base is all snug and good to go. The next thing is we got to work on this top piece here so we can get this big wheel fastened to the top, folks. So once again, we're back here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece around and weld it to the pole, and then this nut, because as you can see, that nut is the same diameter, and then it should be able to thread right onto our wheel. That should work out pretty good, and then make it so we can remove the wheel for easy storage. Then we can slide that underneath the rack when we're not using it. So folks, as you can see, we got the nut all welded up there. We got that piece around welded to there. So our base is movable. Take it around there. Yep. So now we're going to see about putting the wheel on. So there you have it, folks. We got ourselves a mobile stand here. We can hang our ornaments on there. This is threaded so it can move up or down. I'll probably put a bolt through here just so it can't move on me. But then you have different points of attachment to hang your stuff while it's drying. I'm thinking about possibly a few weld washers here. Maybe hang some hooks. Hooks will work perfect there to slide them, and it'll give you a pretty versatile cart for painting everything. So this is Slim. I'd like to thank you today. This was the how-to video of how to make a drying cart for painting out of some stuff that I had at home here and repurposing some old stuff that was passed down to me. Thank you very much, and you have a wonderful day.